So apparently, John Silva is asking for a fight with Alexander Volkanovski after his UFC 314 win. He said the right thing to do next is go directly to the belt. I believe I have the credentials. Okay, I think that it's a good fight for me. I could probably go and get a KO in the first or second round. Let's go ahead and look at John Silva's credentials, ladies and gentlemen. He beat Kevin Vallejos September 5th, 2023. Weston Wilson, Charles Jourdain, good fight, good win there. Drew Dober, very good win there. Baxadarian, forgot how to pronounce his name. And then he beat Bryce Mitchell. Bryce fucking Mitchell. So only one of those guys, ranked guys, right? Just Bryce Mitchell. Let's go ahead and look at Bryce Mitchell's um career so far. So he has won, let's see, 1, 2 fights out of his last 5. Yeah, buddy. We're just gonna go ahead and be honest with John Silva here, ladies and gentlemen. That does not grant you nowhere near a fucking fight with Alexander Volkanovski. And I say that respectfully because I do think that John Silva is a good fighter. I think that he's entertaining as hell, despite what everybody's saying that he's like a fucking nuisance and that he's a freaking obnoxious guy doing his barking. Like I think it's good for the UFC. I think that is bringing a lot of life into the UFC. I think that John Silva being a guy that literally outclasses everybody so far in front of him and just being a complete fucking dickhead, I think that it's bringing a lot of interesting conversation to the sport of MMA and also to the UFC because all publicity doesn't matter if it's good or bad. It's all publicity, and that's good for the sport. It grows the sport, and that's a good thing. Obviously, for John Silva, as well as for the featherweight division because it just makes things interesting, right? Because people are gonna want to see John Silva lose because he's just being an obnoxious dude in the freaking octagon. And I like this motherfucker. I think that he's really, really good. I think that he's a good fighter. I've said this multiple times before that everybody in the fighting nerds is just really, really freaking good. Whenever I saw John Silva fight Bryce Mitchell, I thought that he was going easy on him. I literally said that. I said that whenever I was live. I said that, damn, I think that John Silva, could literally end the fight whenever he wants against Bryce Mitchell. But getting a win over Bryce Mitchell should not grant you a fight with Alexander Volkanovski. And I know that this is just him trolling. I know that he doesn't genuinely believe that he gets a fight with Alexander Volkanovski, but it's just letting everybody else know that he's coming. He is 100% coming. Now, what I think John Silva needs to do in order for him to get closer to fighting for the belt is fighting a couple of key guys. One guy outside of the top 5 and one guy in the top 5. I think he could be genuinely 2 fights away from fighting for the belt. I think that John Silva versus Aljamain Sterling could be a good fight, or John Silva versus Leon Murphy. Leon Murphy literally last week beat Josh Emmett. If Leon Murphy is up for the fight, I think that he could be sacrificed. And holy shit, I hope that the UFC sacrifices Leon Murphy to John Silva. I think that that would be an amazing thing for the division. Just get fucking Leon Murphy out of the fucking top 10. Literally brings no views to the UFC. They need John Silva to whoop his ass. John Silva versus Leon Murphy could be a good fight. If John Silva could get through someone like Leon Murphy or Aljamain Sterling, he gets somebody in the top 5. Maybe somebody like potentially Yair Rodriguez if he does beat Diego Lopez, and that could be an elimination bout to fight Alexander Volkanovski. Alexander Volkanovski beat the shit out of Movsar Evloev and retains the title. Who knows? I think that there is a lot of good combinations for John Silva right now, and the featherweight division is going to be a very interesting division, especially within the next 1 to 2 years, because John Silva is making shit look fucking easy. But if I'm just being completely honest, a win over Bryce fucking Mitchell does not grant you a goddamn title fight with Alexander Volkanovski. It literally does fucking not. But there's obviously some things that John Silva could do to get him closer to fighting for that belt. And whenever, if ever, we do see Alexander Volkanovski versus John Silva, that is going to be a freaking huge fight for the featherweight division. That could be the beginning of a new chapter, a beginning of a new reign for the division. Because I genuinely do think that John Silva probably does beat Aljamain Sterling, Leon Murphy, and if he does get that bout against Yair Rodriguez, if Yair Rodriguez does beat Diego Lopez in September, the rest is fucking history. It's gonna be a huge fight for the division. Or, we could probably see John Silva fight someone even like, I don't know, Arnold Allen, that's right outside of the top 5. If he does beat Arnold Allen, maybe, that could raise a good argument that, John Silva's ready to be a champion. But it all depends. It really all depends on what the UFC wants to do. Obviously, I think that John Silva's most safe fight right now, where he could get an easy win, I think it's against Leon Murphy. I just think it's against Leon Murphy. Obviously, it'll be a tougher fight if he does fight Aljamain Sterling, with Aljamain Sterling being, a grappling heavy dude or wrestling heavy dude, and he does have a championship level training partner, that being Merab Dvalishvili. They're gonna train really, really well for someone like John Silva. But if John Silva manages to beat Aljamain Sterling, of course, that creates another argument that, oh, he beat a former champion. Of course, not being a featherweight, that would be a bantamweight champion, because Aljamain Sterling was the bantamweight champion in the UFC a couple years ago. But being a champion is in the UFC is a pretty big deal, and that would be pretty big for John Silva. After that, he'll fight probably somebody in the top 5. That's how I see it. So Leon Murphy, Aljamain Sterling, and the winner between Yair Rodriguez versus Diego Lopez. Elimination bout, fight for the title, easy. That's the way that I see it. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. As always, it's a pleasure. Peace out and have a good one.